So we're going to use the letter order that they've given us in the instructions, directions there to help us match things up. So the first thing they're asking us is to find A here. Well, A is on this side marked WX. Well, notice that WX are the second and third letter in the congruence statement. Well, the second and third letter over here are K and L. Well, K and L is this side over here that's marked 24. So we know that A plus 8 has to be the same as 24, which is why they've written A plus 8 equals 24. Solve the equation, and that's how we'll find A. Well, we knock 8 off both sides, and we find out that A is 16. Now, some might be questioning right now, well, why are we using the congruence statement to figure this out here? They look the same. They're laid out the same. And that is true. In this particular question, the way this is drawn, they are laid out the same. They will not always be laid out the same, however. So at that point, when they're not laid out the same, definitely you want to look at that congruence statement and use the letter order to figure things out. Okay, so now let's talk about finding B. When they're asking us to find B, B is on this side here marked ML. Well, ML are the last two letters in the question. The last two letters over here are XY. And as you can see over here, when we look at the other illustration, that's marked 30. So 6B must be the same as 30. So I'm going to solve that equation and chop out the 6 on both sides, and we find out that B is 5. Okay, the last thing they're asking us to find there is C, and C is on an angle this time, which is a little bit different there. All right, C is on that angle there marked J. Well, J is the first letter in the statement. It matches the other first letter in the statement, which is V. Well, if we take a look at V, V in that quadrilateral on the left is marked 85 degrees. So 5C has to be the same as 85. Solve the equation. So I chop out the 5 all the way across, and I find out that C is 17. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at the concluding examples here in the check it out statement. In number 1, we're supposed to write a congruence statement for the pair of polygons. Now, even though there's an answer already displayed on the screen, realize it doesn't have to be the only answer as we discussed earlier. You can start with any angle you want to when you're writing your congruence statement. So let's say instead of starting with A, let's say instead I decided to start with C here, which is that 120 degree angle. Well, C matches up with Q, which is that other 120 degree angle. Right? And we can verify that from the answer that was already given because look, they're both the third letter. They have to match up. Now the follow-up question is, well, how do I know it's that 120 degree angle and not the other one? Actually, you really don't. There's no dead giveaway there other than the sides. Look at the sides. Right? The sides here, what's going to give this way? Look here. You've got this one that's marked with 2 hash marks here. It's got to match up with the other side that's got 2 hash marks on it, which is this one here, QT. All right? And that's how I know, because I'm matching up the sides then as well. Well, the big angle on that side matches up with the big angle on that side, the sides with 2 hash marks. All right, so now that we explained that that doesn't necessarily work always with the angles, and sometimes we do have to look at the sides, let's keep going. Let's go to the 60 degree angle. So I'm going to go to B next. Well, that's going to match up with T. Now, some might be saying, well, how do I know that's that one and not the other one? Well, that one's a little bit easier to explain. We have to go around the shape in order here. I wouldn't want to cross the shape now and go over here to this 60 degree angle and say, well, I'm going to match it up next. If I'm going around the shape in order here, I'm going to go around the shape in order here. You still want to flow around your shape in some logical order, either clockwise or counterclockwise. Okay, so let's go get the next 120. Again, we're just flowing around the shapes here. So D is going to match up with R, which is, again, what we see in the answer here. Look, fourth letter, fourth letter. And then finally, A matches up with S. It's the only options left, but they're both marked 60 degrees, so that probably makes good sense. So CBDA is the same as QTRS. One thing that should also point out is just don't always assume that put the letters in order, and they match up. The book isn't always going to do letters in order, because that wouldn't be much of a challenge. Okay, let's look at the last one. In the figure, JIHK is congruent to QRST, and we're supposed to find C. Well, notice C here is on that angle marked T, which is the fourth letter. It's got to match up with the other fourth letter, which is K. So C plus 10 is the same as 30. And solve the equation. Well, you know how to do that. You know where the answer is going to go because it's telling us there that C is 20. We subtract 10 from both sides, and indeed, when I solve that equation, then C would equal 20.